or about chapter 13, it says this: Saul fights the Philistines, which is of course the modern day Palestinians over in the Gaza Strip. Saul was years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in 2 years over Israel. Saul chose 3,000 men of Israel. 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash in the hill country of Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin. The rest of the people he sent home, every man to his tent. And Jonathan defeated the garrison of the Philistines that was at Gibeah, and the Philistines heard of it. And Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, "Let the Hebrews hear," or let the Jews hear, pretty much. And all Israel heard it. So said that Saul had defeated the garrison of the Philistines, and also that Israel had become a stench to the Philistines, and people were called out to join Saul at Gilgal. The Philistines mustered to fight with Israel 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen and troops, like the sand on the seashore in multitude. They came up and encamped in Michmash to the east of Beth-aven. When the men of Israel saw that they were in trouble, for the people were hard pressed, the people hid themselves in caves and in holes and in rocks and in tombs and in cisterns. And some Hebrews crossed the fords of the Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. Saul was still at Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. They were afraid to face the Philistines. But of course, I mean, you know, if you got God, man, you don't need to fear nothing. Because if God's on your side, nobody can mess with you. I mean, people may come against you, but I mean, if God's on your side and you're saved, He's going to protect you. You know, He's going to protect you. You got nothing to worry about, so don't fear. Don't fear nothing at all. If you have the Lord's on your side, you got nothing to fear, because He's in control. Saul's unlawful sacrifice. He waited 7 days, the time appointed by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people were scattering from him. So Saul said, "Bring the burnt offering here to me, and the peace offerings." And he offered the burnt offering. As soon as he had finished offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him and greet him. Samuel said, "What have you done?" And Saul said, "When I saw that the people were scattering from me, and that you did not come within the days appointed, and that the Philistines had mustered at Michmash, I said, Now the Philistines will come down against me at Gilgal, and I have not sought the favor of the Lord. So I forced myself and offered the burnt offering." And Samuel said to Saul, "You have done foolishly. You have not kept the command of the Lord your God, with which He commanded you. For then the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. But now your kingdom shall not continue. The Lord has sought out a man after His own heart, and the Lord has commanded him to be prince over His people, because you have not kept what the Lord commanded you." And Samuel arose and went up from Gilgal. The rest of the people went up after Saul to meet the army. They went up from Gilgal to Gibeah of Benjamin. And Saul numbered the people who were present with him, about 600 men. And Saul and Jonathan his son, and the people who were present with him, stayed in Gibeah of Benjamin. The Philistines encamped in Michmash, and raiders came out of the camp of the Philistines in 3 companies. One company turned towards Orpha, to the land of Shul. Another company turned towards Beth Horon. Another company turned towards the border that looks down on the valley of Zebulun, towards the wilderness. Now there was no blacksmith to be found throughout all the land of Israel, for the Philistines said, "Lest the Hebrews make themselves swords or spears." But every one of the Israelites went down to the Philistines to sharpen his plowshare, his mattock, his axe, or his sickle. And the charge was 2/3 of a shekel for the plowshare, for the plowshares, and for the mattocks, and 1/3 of a shekel for sharpening the axes and for setting the goads. So on the day of the battle there was neither sword nor spear found in the hand of any of the people with Saul and Jonathan, but Saul and Jonathan his son had them. And the garrison of the Philistines went out to the pass of Michmash. Now they have a map here. It says the battle of at Michmash. As the Philistines strengthened their grid on the central hill country of Israel, they placed troops at Michmash and sent raiding parties into the countryside. After Saul's son Jonathan captured the town of Gibeah, Saul mustered more Israelite forces at Gilgal and joined Jonathan. A daring raid by Jonathan across the ravine separating Michmash and Gibeah led to an Israelite victory over the Philistines, and the Israelites drove them from the hill country. Now the map here, it zooms in, so where you have the Philistines flee past Ajalon, and this takes place around the Jordan River. And when you zoom in to Michmash and Geba, when it zooms in on it, you have Jonathan attacks and then Saul attacks, and Saul's forces start at Migron, Jonathan's forces start in Geba, and Saul's forces go over to Michmash, where the Philistine forces are, and attacks them, and then Jonathan from Geba goes all the way to the Philistine outpost and attacks them. So Israel attacks the Philistines on two sides. So here's the map of that right here. You can see that little map right there on the bottom. That's the zoom in part. You see where they attack the Philistines from two sides, from the top and from the bottom. So, anyway, that's chapter 13, and I'll be right back with chapter 14 here with you.